Oh my goodness, everyone. It's 8:30 at night and I just heard them with the bolts cuz I don't live too far from the shipyard from here. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. This is your home girl. Uh Bosa. 914 Westchester County, New York. We stuck down here in North Charleston, South Carolina. We've been here for over 10 years. I would say over 10 years. We've been here since 2014 in South Carolina this time. We've been here before. Uh, Child, please. It's been a long day. Even though I didn't work today, it's been a long fucking day. I have been on these YouTube streets doing videos, shorts, uploads, and a couple of live videos. I even went on the YouTubes and looked up that TV show that used to come on, Give Me a Break. I looked that up and I looked at a couple of episodes of Give Me a Break starring Nell Carter. I don't know if anyone remembers Nell Carter, but shout out to her. Rest in peace. And I looked up the news and I see that there's a hurricane down there in the Caribbean. Over there in the Caribbean. And I said to myself, usually when those type of storms come and hit certain locations, they always end up hitting South Carolina. And that's where I'm at. And I don't know how many times I've been through this in South Carolina, which is why I'm considering on going back to New York. Just moving back to New York and never coming back down to South Carolina again. I don't even know why I'm down here. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, Miss B, what's up? Good afternoon, or should I say good evening? Brooklyn Hood, what's up? So we got Brooklyn Hood and Miss V. Shout out to y'all. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, you guys, I looked on the news, and that's why I don't like to look at the news, but it's good to look to see what the weather's doing because right now in the state of South Carolina, the part where I live, we're having a lot of rain. We're experiencing a lot of rain at this time. I know it's an unusual amount that we're just not used to. I'm not used to the rain just being like the way it is. I'm just used to one day of rain, 2 days of rain, and the rain goes away and then comes back maybe next week, maybe 2 weeks from now. This is different. And I kind of like figured that something was different. So something said, Arabia, I want you to look at the news. Forget about the YouTubes right now. Look at the news. I looked at the news. Oh my God. It's a hurricane down there in the Caribbean. I believe it's located down there. And it hit Jamaica. This hurricane called Melissa had hit Jamaica. And I feel terrible. Any kind of storm like that, I feel terrible for the people. I feel terrible for the economy of the country that it is hitting. I'm well aware that in most countries, when storms like that hit, like certain hurricanes, and depending on what kind of hurricane it is, and I'm gonna tell you the truth, I haven't seen a storm as powerful and as terrible as Hurricane Hugo. See, I was here in South Carolina when Hurricane Hugo came through and did its destruction. I remember not having no lights. I remember being told not to drink the water. You know what I'm saying? I remember uh the because the people I lived with, the people that raised me, were very conscientious of these things, and they used to buy supplies just for storms just like that. And we didn't have to worry about the electricity being out. We didn't worry about not having to cook or nothing like that, because they had a gas stove, and they had outside cooking area where there was a grill. There was an outside brick grill in the ground. So we didn't have to worry about none of that. The only thing that there was concern with was getting rid of all that stuff that was in the deep freezer. All that stuff that was in the deep freezer. Some of the stuff I remember them giving away, like the ice creams and all that. I remember them giving away that stuff. I remember them going to different parts and just giving things away to the people. You know what I mean? But when the storm was over, when the emergency was over, they went back to being the selfish pricks that they were. What's up, DJ Cleveland? Shout out to the chat. Yeah. So there is a hurricane down there in the Caribbean. It has hit Jamaica. I don't know where the storm is getting ready to go, because usually when storms hit certain areas of the Caribbean, or if it hits Puerto Rico, anything like that, it always ricochets and hits South Carolina. We don't know where the storm is going. We don't know where the storm is going. Only thing I understand and I know, that the storm can go anywhere now. You know, and the southeast is always threatened by these storms. The southeast is always threatened by these hurricanes. And I remember last year I was going through a little tidbit problem when a hurricane threatened South Carolina. I remember when the hurricane threatened South Carolina. Now, I don't remember which hurricane it was. I don't know the name of it. It's not important now. Only thing I do know, it stopped us from going to work for a couple of days when I was with the other company. Shout out to the chat. So, you know, that's a concern for me. It's already bad enough that we don't have enough work going out, but it's really terrible when your work get canceled, or certain companies cancel just because of rain, of a rain situation. And so far we've been having rain for the last couple of days. Now, I remember when the rain started here, but it has nothing to do with the hurricane system. It has nothing to do with what's going on in the Caribbean. And if you pay attention, everywhere these hurricanes hit, it always hits someplace where the Atlantic slave trade was involved. I don't know about anyone else, but I do know that there are certain parts of America, North America, South America, the Caribbean, where slavery was very heavy. And don't you know that when a wrong has been done, a sin, a great sin has been committed, and blood is soaked into the ground and into the water and into the air, the ancestors never rest. Oh, they might be dead and gone. Some people may be dead and gone, but that doesn't say that they are at rest or they are at peace. And sometimes in some governments, need to atone for what they did, for the evils that they did in this country and all across the world. Shout out to the chat. And I know it's going to be hard for some people to accept what I'm saying. I know some people can't believe it, but it's a reality. If you go to any major city here in the United States, certain places in the United States, don't you get a certain feeling that there is a cloud of depression over a certain city? Over a certain city. And I've pointed out at that one building, it's located downtown that I know of, that it's very close to a cemetery. I wouldn't put it past those people to have moved the tombstones, the markings of that was a part of that cemetery, and built a building on top of a cemetery. If you look at the history of Central Park, they did the same thing. These people have no respect for people. And when a certain people have no respect for the dead, now we really got a problem. We really got a problem. And I just can't rest easy at night knowing that certain things are taking place and people are not acknowledging the wrongs that was done to a certain groups of people. They acknowledge what happened to the Jews. What's wrong with them acknowledging what happened to our people, the Native American people, the Black people, us? Because it's our ancestors' blood that is crying out from the dust, from the soil, from the earth. They're crying out from Mother Earth. White people too. I am not going to exclude them. There's plenty of people that were white that did not participate in the slavery thing. They didn't want to have nothing to do with it. They didn't want to be involved. There was plenty of them that didn't participate. And as history has recorded it, a lot of Native American tribes participated with that foolishness too. So it just wasn't just them. Shout out to the chat. But that's neither here nor there. In the meantime, we got to live with the after effects. And if you notice that all these hurricanes, when they start out, they begin over there in the coast, from the coastlines of Africa, and ripples in this direction. And I don't mean no harm, but I have never heard of a hurricane hitting Japan. I've never heard of a hurricane hitting China. I've never heard of a hurricane hitting certain parts of the Soviet Union or Germany or England or France. I never heard of a hurricane hitting Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iraq, Iran. I never heard of a hurricane hitting those places. But these hurricanes seem to always travel in this direction and hit us. And it costs us money. It costs us money. Shout out to the chat. That's a reality. Because if you pay attention to the weather, I mean, I got two sisters right now. They remember Hurricane Hugo. They remember when we first moved to South Carolina. A few months after that, here come Hurricane Hugo, ripping through South Carolina. Those two young ladies were so frightened by the wind, the high levels of wind that was blowing, the rain that was coming. They lived with that fear. Even now, these women are now in their 40s. And every time the wind blows hard, what do? They go out to the grocery stores. They buy as much water as possible. They buy all the toilet paper up that they can buy. They buy certain types of food that can be made into sandwiches. Oh yes, they buy all kinds of things to make soups before the storm hits, or if it's getting closer, or if it's threatening the areas that they live. The wind can blow hard. These women will immediately disperse to the stores. Shout out to the chat. They live with that fear. They never had it when we lived in New York. It only started when we moved to South Carolina. And neither one of these women live in South Carolina anymore. They moved away from South Carolina long time ago. They escaped South Carolina. They went on to Virginia, but I don't really hear of any hurricanes hitting Virginia too much. So shout out to the chat. Hey Letitia, thank you for coming in. Good evening to you. So Mrs. Eve, thank you for coming in. Letitia, thank you for coming in. Brooklyn Hood, thank you for coming in. DJ Cleveland, thank you for coming in. I want to thank everyone that's in this chat, that's typing in the chat. Even those that are not typing in, I thank you for coming over. Shout out to you. I don't know how many times I went live today. It's been a busy day for me. When things disturb me emotionally, oh, I like to talk about it. I don't like to hold in my feelings. And that's one thing I'm never going to do. I'm never going to hide my feelings. I'm never going to hide my emotions. I'm never going to hide none of that. None of it. If I feel something needs to be said, I'm going to say it. And you know what? A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people really don't like that. They better get used to it. Because I've been on these YouTube streets since 2013. I'm still here. I don't see me going anywhere. I don't think I'm going to be going live as much in the next few days. Because I want to get the other new YouTube creators a chance to go live. They need to go live. They need to come out and do their videos. I don't know if they're creating their videos or creating their content to fit in a cortex so everyone can understand. I just go off the dome. Right off whatever my dome says, go ahead and do, Ray. Just go ahead and do it. That's what I do. If I feel like talking about the weather, I'll talk about the weather. If I want to talk about what's going on in my house, I'll talk about what's going on in my house. If I want to talk about what's going on the job, I'll talk about that. If I want to talk about something that happened in the past, it could be 20, 30 years ago that it happened, I'm going to talk about it. I talked about things that happened to me when I was 9 years old. I've talked about it on this app. I don't think I've hidden myself at all. I've talked about my prison experience. My MA number was 221644. I did 6 years, 7 months in the South Carolina Department of Corrections. I did my time. I was diagnosed with a mental health illness, mental illness. I got bipolar. No, I don't got no bipolar. That's my sister. I got borderline personality disorder. Borderline personality disorder is very hard to treat. In other words, I could like you today and hate you tomorrow. You could be the best thing from sliced bread today, and tomorrow you're the enemy. You're the target. That's what you are. See, borderline personality disorder, I've done the self mutilation thing. I've been to mental institutions for this. I've been diagnosed with major depression recurrent. Major depression recurrent. Major depression recurrent is not treatable. It can't be treated. It can't be cured. I don't care what kind of medicine they put me on. Shout out to the chat. I'm not on medicine now. I'm not on no kind of pills, and I'm not on alcohol. And I think that's what's aggravating me. Not having my alcohol is aggravating me. The other day I ran out of cigarettes. I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all. But I gotta live through it until I can get to the cigarettes. Until I can get to the cigars. Because a lot of times I'll buy my Cheyenne cigars. A pack of Cheyenne cigars is what? $2.13. I remember when it used to be $1. It used to be less than that when they came out with those flavored cigars. Shout out to the chat. So I'm going to be talking more than usual. Birdman is gone into the ground. He left me alone by myself. KK moved. You know, she left me alone here by myself. Baltimore went back to Baltimore. Left me here by myself. So I'm by myself, basically. Sometimes I'll go down there, downtown, and I'll get lucky and I'll run into one of my relatives, or I'll run into one of Birdman's relatives. And they know. They know very well. Shout out to the chat. Now I like said, yeah, I like what Letitia said. I like what everybody just said in this chat, which makes a lot of sense to me. It does. Say, I like when people converse with me in my chat. And I like StreamYard because StreamYard, I could actually see what the people are writing and stuff. And I think that is so good for the YouTube streets. So people can type in, so I can not only read, but I can highlight what you said. And thus far, people have been agreeing with me thus far. So I appreciate everyone typing in and everyone saying what's on their mind and their opinions and how they feel about certain things. That's what I like about my chat. My chat, they're not shy. They're not shy at all. I don't know how many people on this YouTube app, on this platform, have co-defendants. I think I mentioned that earlier, but I meant that. Don't have no co-defendants. Not on this app and not nowhere else on social media. Not even in real life, because when you have co-defendants, it's not a good thing. It's not a good look. That's why I'm not a part of any groups. I'm not a Kwamite. I'm not a rabbit. I'm not a sniper. I'm not an outlaw. I'm not a mafia. I was down with Soda Nation all these years, and I fell out of love with being with that because it took too fucking long. It's taken too long for us to resurrect. That doesn't make any sense. All these other groups have resurrected out of nothing or out of diversity. And Soda Nation is having such a hard time. You know why Soda Nation can't rise like the way they need to rise? Because they're all divided. They're all divided. Some people have remained the same, and others have floated into these other groups, and they refuse to leave those groups. I'm tell you one thing: once anybody disrespect me, and I don't care which group it is, I'm not fucking with them no more. I don't go in their fucking chats. Not all of them, some. If you didn't offend me, if you didn't offend me, and you go live, you hit that live button, I might be in your chat. I might type in. I might say hello. Or I might say Nini Kuzimu Kilabakati. I might say Papa Dios. I might say Que carajo. Que carajo. Or Que diablo. I might call on the name of God in Spanish and tell him to open the door. Shout out to the chat, because on certain chats you got to type in words that other people don't necessarily understand. And I always say, if you don't understand, lo siento, no es culpa, es mío. Lo siento, no es culpa, es mío. Estoy donde nada nunca se pasó. Ven aquí conmigo. Mi gente, que lo que, mi gente, ven aquí conmigo. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Yeah, I'm not gonna be up here very long. I'm getting ready to close out this video. I hope everyone has an awesome night. I'm gonna finish watching. Oh shit, there go my alarm. It's coming on for 9 o'clock. Hold on. Yeah, I got that set for 9 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock in the morning, and another time in the afternoon. I don't know why it's set up that way, but it's set up that way. Shout out to the chat. I'm out of here. I've been up here long enough talking to the rest of you. I hope everyone has an awesome night. We pray for our brothers and sisters that are in the Caribbean. We pray for them. Hurricane Melissa has hit down there, and I do believe Hurricane Melissa is going to be threatening certain parts of the southeast. We don't know where this storm is going to go. We don't know how strong this storm is. We're not really sure about that. But we do know that every time I hear that there's a hurricane anywhere, I get nervous. I do. And I'm not going to hide my nervousness. So shout out to the chat. I'm out of here. Hope everyone has an awesome night. Do what you need to do. Take care of yourself. And I'll see you in another video, or perhaps in someone else's chat. Peace, y'all. We out of here. One.